lot in the great city of something in Kansas, I believe. I wrote it down. Arkansas City, Kansas, at the Walmart. I'm trying to be more detailed about my directions since I got this thing, which I paid like $20 for this, and I'm seeing kids versions for 5. So I don't know what to think of that. It shouldn't cost a whole lot. You can press the button to erase everything. It works okay. It's not waterproof, but I mean, I like to write notes and period and erase the notes. So having something like this is neat for traveling. But yeah, I look into a lot of different things here and there. The law is also pulling my attention too, but right now it's kind of a wait type of thing. There are a lot of crows around here for some reason. I don't know if they even show. Yeah, they don't want to show on the. There's just crows all over the place flying. I saw that south of here too, in uh, whatever north, somewhere north Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm looking into all kinds of different things, taking into all kinds of different interests, trying to keep my health up and keep a good diet going. And I want things to be convenient, so uh, things have to work out in a good balance for me as best I can. There's going to be some suffering out of things, even though things can be in balance, there's going to be a little suffering, but there's also enjoyment too. It's just balance. Uh, and right now, this ain't too bad of a spot. The weather's decent. It was super hot 2 days ago, and I was thinking I wanted to make a bigger jump up north. But now the next few days are looking okay. I'm not in a rush to get north for the relief. And north does bring relief. You don't want to take that for granted. It brings relief. Even though the weather can fluctuate a lot week to week, seasonally it's pretty useful in the mid part of the country uh, to travel with the weather. I believe that the old Indians used to travel with the weather too, especially around the Rocky Mountains, going up the mountains for the summertime and down the mountains for the winter. I think they were doing that. Yeah, I got a lot of hair in my nose. I don't care, whatever. I've been exercising more, and I do notice that the hair in my nose makes it so that I'm breathing heavier, and the hair is making things a little more difficult. Man, when smoke gets in the air, that is difficult. I physically moving, like I was in Edmond, Oklahoma, which is just north of Oklahoma City, and I was there in like 2019 or something, and I just I didn't know until I got back there just like last week that I was there. I spent like 2 weeks in Edmond, and it was in the park. It was super quiet. Everything was closed down. But when I got there last week to hang out in the park, it was just overwhelmed with people. That's how it normally is. But during COVID, they shut everything down, and even the outdoor programs. But it was like I was so frustrated with Edmond having all the people running around me. I thought I picked a good spot. I walked around a little bit to try to find a better spot to stay parked for the day. Like I don't know, from 2 p.m. on to the evening, and every space was taken, even for the disc golf. Every space was taken in their park, especially during the baseball practice and all that. And then I wait them out till like 8:30 at night sitting in my car, not helping myself. I didn't need that rest, but that's what happens when I park in the wrong spot. So there's just so many people all around. I can't get any exercise. There's people walking all around me. I can't pull out my parallettes or my sticks. I just sit in my car, sometimes go for a walk or whatever. And then I wait till 8:30 at night, and then suddenly the smoke starts coming in, and I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna exercise through the smoke. And uh, that was a mistake. It was like the air was clear, well, during the daytime, but then at night suddenly smoke just gets into the air, like maybe there was a sudden house fire. I don't know, but it lasted all night until 2 a.m. I woke up at 2 a.m. with a racing heart, clear health problem, smoke still in the air, and I'm like, that's it, I'm out. At 2 a.m., I just had to find somewhere else to go to get out of that smoke. And that happens so much. People just love to burn things. I actually smelled a little smoke last night, but I didn't move. I don't smell it now. I smelled a little bit last night. But in Edmond, Oklahoma, it was really bad. And so I moved, and I still smelled the smoke for like 10 miles heading north. I mean, this was like, I noticed it at 9 p.m., 8:30 p.m., and wake up at 2 a.m. still smelling it with my heart racing. I couldn't see, there was maybe a slight haze. There's no visible smoke though. I drive 10 miles north to get relief and still smelling it. But when I got, about 15 miles north, I finally got out of that smoke. And the air and my heart was feeling better. I wasn't like coughing. I wasn't having struggle breathing. My heart was just beating extra hard this time. The smoke causes a panic, but it also makes it hard to breathe too. So it does a lot, depending on what the people feel like burning. They feel like burning their house down, then there's going to be all those chemicals involved. But when I'm downwind, and even if the fire is big enough that you could be a wide cone downwind and still be getting it if the wind is swirling it all around. But if it's just a straight path, sometimes it's okay. I could almost be parked right next to a house fire. If I'm upwind from it, it's okay. But if I'm downwind from it, I gotta move. I can't sleep through that. It causes too many health problems for sleeping, let alone trying to relax. There was one time, yeah, where I was in California. There's a big fires at 2017, and I was like just north of San Francisco, and I just tried to take a little nap during the daytime, and I was waking up because of the smoke. As I couldn't breathe, I couldn't take a nap through the smoke, so I drove 100 miles north and got out of the path. But for some people, it's difficult to get out of the pathway of that smoke, and yeah, just suffering through it's really like those Canadian fires 3 years ago or so. I couldn't get out of the path of that. All I could do is just take it, and that's difficult. All that smoke, you can't relax. It causes a panic. That's what it does to bees. You smoke the beehive to get them to get out of the beehive, because it causes a panic for them. They eat a little extra honey and then run and find safety away from the beehive. And I think that's what it does to my my breathing. But yeah, I'm looking into all kinds of different ideas and stuff. There's different paths to take. I guess I could say that the legal realm is centering me, causing me to have to turn back to legal issues, and that's kind of a centering experience. uh, looking into what I can do without offending the law enforcement or the judges even. And I really haven't looked into Kansas now. I got a little familiar with Oklahoma, but now I'm in Kansas. What's going on in Kansas for uh, trespassing and loitering? I don't know. For my constitutional rights, I don't know what's going on with that. I just kind of find out the hard way. Last time I was through Kansas was kind of a quick rush because of COVID. There's really nowhere to relax. Yeah, once the last legal problem is finished, that's it. I won't have any other problems. There was a time in the first, I don't know, let's see, up to 2016. It didn't take long. At the start of my travels, I even when I was living in my car in Rice Lake, Wisconsin for the first year, I still had some legal problems. There was the cops in the local area. They knew me though, but still they started coming down harder on me, even though they knew me. So it doesn't matter whether they know me or not. They'll come down hard on me if there's complainants. The caller gives them the right to demand ID and all of that. But yeah, I haven't exactly been at peace. I'm very familiar with the process of going through the legal issues, having to stick around the area and wait for court dates upon court dates, and then making arguments, and it's like you wait 2 months just to to say the right thing at your court dates when the judge brings it up. You have to wait for that right moment for when the judge brings it up at the right time, and you wait 2 months, and you prepare and you remind yourself what you got to say, and then the judge tries to shut you down, and it's really it's that hurry up and wait mentality that the military teaches you. It's a big part of life that a lot of people don't have the discipline for, or the patience, because it takes up a lot of your time. You got 2 seconds to speak. I mean that if the judge pauses 2 seconds, yeah, that's where you have to interject. You have to speak up, or they move on to the next thing. 2 seconds. There's no, oh, would you like to? They don't ask you, do you have anything to say? It's kind of rare to hear that. After they're done speaking, they ask you if you have anything to say. A lot of people want to just speak up while the judge is talking, and then risk getting contempt of court. And the discipline for lawyers is to just wait till the judge is done talking. But people are like so anxious to talk. It's like people get anxious to talk to defend themselves if they're defending themselves without a lawyer, and risk contempt of court because they violate the decorum of the court. And the best I can do is write down what the judge says, and then wait, or the prosecutor even, write down what they say and then bring it up, like after they mention it. I don't know, like say that I've been charged with giving the wrong name. I had to wait till the prosecutor was done talking 3 minutes later, and then bring up, the prosecutor's saying that I gave the wrong name, when really it was just not giving a name at all. And the judge just kind of passes it off as no big deal, but I wanted to get it on record that that was what was said. But I don't speak up while the prosecutor's saying that. I have to just wait. I have to write it down, and then I'm not going to remember that. After all the things he says for 3 minutes afterward, I'm not going to remember all of that. So, and that's what the lawyers are trained to do. They gotta remember everything that's being said, and then wait their turn to speak instead of trying to make an interruption. You can make an objection at times, but yeah, you have to kind of wait to do that. And there's that discipline. That's why they're officers of the courts. There's a certain kind of discipline that's involved with court procedure and all of that. Wait your turn to talk. Don't over talk, because there's a decorum with what's going on with that and all of that. It's not like what happens on the street as the cop is arresting you. You know, neither one waits for their time to talk. That's a different experience. You're talking over each other, arguing with each other, repeating your arguments over and over and over again, you know, or asking the questions, what's the crime? Why am I being arrested? Why am I being arrested? Why am I being arrested? You know, that gets shut down in the courtroom. You don't repeat yourself until you get the right answer. It's like you just ask it, and whatever answer they give, you either better have another different type of question to follow up or be done. And there's different disciplines at that. I'm trying to do a little training with being more disciplined from the courts onto the street when cops do harass me, because it does happen. I park in the wrong spots sometimes. A cop sleeping spot where they have to harass me, and I want to turn the procedure on camera into more of a court procedure with the cop, and it's me interviewing the cop. They can ask me what I'm doing, and I'll exchange that information if they're willing to. But you know, that's not how it works when they're on the stand. They answer the questions, I ask the questions, but they don't have the prosecutor there to help them out. But I mean, you know, people like to ask for the supervisor. Why not ask for the prosecutor? Because that's the ultimate person who is going to be trying to file your case, and run you through the court system. Asking for the supervisor is just asking for another cop. You want to ask for the prosecutor. All right? Will your prosecutor like back you up on this? But yeah, you want to ask the cop training questions. Is that a part of your training? And that's the thing I'm spending time trying to learn a little bit here and there with the help of AI. AI is pointing me in the right direction. Nobody in comments has ever pointed me in this direction that AI has been doing. But it takes me asking multiple questions and writing things down, asking different hours of the day, till I could finally see the pattern developing with the court procedure. You don't ask about case law. You don't tell the cop that you're living within your constitutional rights. They don't know what that means. I had that theory before, pre AI. I'm like, I'm living within my constitutional rights. You're not, and I'm not bothering anybody. That doesn't matter to the cops. What matters is what they experience, and that's their training. So learning about their training is more important, and that's now what I'm learning more that they want to withhold from pro se defendants and maybe lawyers too. Probably lawyers. They want to withhold their training records. They want to withhold their police policies. So I want to learn more about that. But it's like, okay, if you want to withhold your police policies from me for both Natchitoches, Louisiana, and West Milwaukee, Wisconsin, both those, or they find me guilty, they withhold their police policies, shutting down my line of questioning, and finding me guilty. How convenient is that? But I could become the trainer. All right, I don't become the trainer. ChatGPT becomes the trainer. And I asked ChatGPT, okay, well, let me ask right now. I've been meaning to ask if I can get connected. what are the primary what are the primary court cases involved with law enforcement? Okay, that's what I would ask. Okay, what primary court cases uh, influence the police behavior, how police interact with people? Okay, I've been meaning to ask that. Let's see if I can get. I'll turn it on. I'm gonna turn on voice. What the heck? I got an hour each day. I barely use it. If it connects. Okay. What are the primary court cases that are involved with policing the public?
There are several key court cases that have shaped policing. One is Terry v. Ohio, which established that police can stop and frisk individuals if they have reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. Another is Miranda v. Arizona, which requires police to inform suspects of their rights before interrogation. Mapp v. Ohio is also important because it ruled that evidence obtained illegally cannot be used in court. These cases, among others, have had a significant impact.
I want to hear about the others. All right. There's one that you did not mention. What is there, a Mims or a Giglio? I can't.
Sure, there are a few other significant cases. One is Pennsylvania v. Mims, which allows police to order a driver out of a vehicle during a stop for officer safety.
Yeah.
Another is Giglio v. United States, which requires the evidence that might impeach the credibility of a witness, including any deals or leniency offered. There's also Tennessee v. Garner, which limits the use of deadly force by police. Each of these cases has contributed to the legal framework governing police conduct.
Stop. Tennessee versus Garner. I hope you're not making that up. That's not too familiar with me.
Tennessee v. Garner is a real case. In 1985, the Supreme Court ruled that police cannot use deadly force to stop a fleeing suspect unless the suspect poses a significant threat of death or serious physical injury to the officer or others.
Okay.
This case.
So if you were a trainer, like I'm being denied police policies for both West Milwaukee and Natchitoches, and let's say these significant Supreme Court cases are going to influence how the police policies are written. Since I'm being denied these police policies by these corrupt police agencies, let's have you be the trainer. How would you write the police policies for the cops to follow based on these court cases?
If I were to draft police policies based on those Supreme Court cases, they focus on key principles like ensuring reasonable suspicion for stops and frisks, informing individuals of their rights, limiting the use of deadly force, and disclosing any evidence that could affect a witness's credibility. For instance, policies would require officers to articulate clear reasons for stops, follow strict guidelines on the use of force, and maintain transparency in all procedures. This approach would help ensure accountability and protect civil rights.
And all right, as a defendant asking the cop questions about their training on the witness stand, I would want to form my questions around that training that you have talked about. How would I ask my questions based on that training that you suggest?
You can ask questions that highlight the officer's adherence to legal standards. For example, can you explain the reasonable suspicion you had for stopping me? Or, were you aware of the limitations set by Tennessee v. Garner regarding the use of force? You could also ask, how does your training address informing suspects?
See, that's the problem with AI, is it wants to talk about court cases. That's what caused me problems in West Milwaukee, is because I was listening to the AI with court cases, okay, AI needs to pick up the pace on how to ask questions properly. You don't ask questions and mention any court cases, okay? You don't ask any questions on the stand that mention any court cases, okay? Why are you doing that?
Got it. In that case, you can keep your questions focused on the officer's training and actions. For example,
Well, the
can you
thing
describe?
is it's like it's not like I should do that. It's like I get shut down by the judge doing that.
Totally understandable. It's important to keep your questions straightforward. You could ask something like, what steps did you take to assess the situation? Or, can you explain your decision-making process during the stop? These keep the focus on the officer's actions without referencing cases.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop here with the. I'm not gonna mention cases ever again. When I have to ask questions, I don't want to hear. In fact, that's just straight up an objectable question line of questioning, mentioning court cases in any way. You don't do it. You don't even. I don't even think you should mention Terry v. Ohio. Are you following Terry v. Ohio? What does that mean? That's asking a legal conclusion from the cop. But the problem is, I failed to object. I see. The thing is, when the prosecutor gets to go first, and I let him ask, the legal conclusion type questions, and not knowing that really those get shut down on me. But I have to find out in my line of questioning what they don't allow, as opposed to what's allowed or not allowed in the prosecutor's line of questioning. And that's why I need a retrial. I need another chance, because it's like, first I learn what the judges don't want to hear from me, and then I turn around and apply that to the prosecutor's line of questioning the second time around. Oh, okay, yeah, you don't represent yourself in courts unless you have to. I mean, what are you going to do if you can't afford the lawyer? I mean, the judge doesn't if the judge doesn't see it as an important enough case to allow you a free lawyer, then you do what you can. But yeah, I'm seeing that. I mean, this is stuff that I could take to the streets too, of course. It's like the the cop. I don't want to mention any crime. What's the crime? It's like, that's asking what's the legal conclusion. And I've been asking that a lot. What's the crime, officer? It it's more about what's your observations and what actions do you want to take based on your observations, because I can't ask a cop to make a legal conclusion, and that goes both ways. That goes both for how he's going to charge me and how he's going to respect my civil rights. All right, like I could say, okay, officer, I refuse to answer that question. Okay, you're making that observation. What action do you want to take based upon that observation? I'm not going to say I assert my Fifth Amendment rights. I know my rights. They don't care. It's not like it's not. It's a legal conclusion. You want to say, I am not answering that question. What action do you want to take based upon my silence? Okay. What observation are you making, and what action do you want to take based on my silence? All right. Not, I'm pleading the fifth. So what? I think you gotta base it more on their training, and that's more applicable to the line of questioning that you create at your trial. And I didn't really realize it until I started going through question after question, trying to figure out. And then where I really learned it, though, was, I let AI make up the questions, But then I'm like, okay, what objections are these questions going to get? And then that's when I started learning about about the training. We're focused on training, but I still allowed. I kind of have to rewrite all my questions again in a way with West Milwaukee for my second trial, because a lot of them are really based on legal conclusions on case law. So there's that. But yeah, my shoulder's getting better, and I think it's because of how I've been pulling on it. I've been using the stick and like doing the Jesus pose and uh, pulling on it, working my forearms really good. But that's like separating the shoulder from the cuff too much doing that exercise, and it's just in the outward way. And I've been waking up with nasty shoulder pain. What's that? Civil trial pleading the fifth does apply. You're wrong, Zephyr. Who are you? I don't like you. Unless you're willing to lose the civil trial. Well, lose in a municipal court, so what? It's more a matter of getting that appeal through. Municipal court is about municipal court is the interrogatory or the deposition. Municipal court is the deposition. All right. The real court is when you appeal at the civil court, appeal at the circuit courts in Wisconsin. The municipal judge denies you the interrogatories and depositions. So you do your deposition at the municipal court trial with their limited jurisdiction. They can't try felonies. They can't have jury trials. And so you're basically, they can't hold a jury trial. That's pretty much like having a deposition, but you're having a deposition in municipal court with the judge present. It's not just the prosecutor. So it's a little bit of a different kind of deposition. A deposition where you can be found, where you're going to be found guilty, but you can appeal. I'm trying to learn as much as I can at a municipal trial to prepare for circuit trial. You go through a couple of trials. But I think pleading the fifth, was really necessary at my trial because, one, I just refused to testify, and two, the our chief aide was allowed to watch my interrogation by the prosecutor. So, I mean, I was not answering any questions for just tactical reasons because chief aide was watching. The judge said chief aide could be the prosecutor's, I don't know, companion, to like emotional support companion until he was called to testify. And I was called to testify first. Why not call chief aide first? All right. No, it was all tactical. They wanted chief aide to listen to my testimony first. The prosecutor could have called chief aide first. It's up to them however they want to do it. But then I would have listened to chief aide's testimony, and the prosecutor can't have that. So it's all just deposition like type of rules. The standards are lower. It's almost like a deposition, but with a judge present, pretty much. And what did you say? If it's a civil pleading the fifth, lose. That's why criminal trials normally happen before. Okay. Oh, the best. Get a. No, the prosecutors know the way I go about it, the prosecutors want to get involved. I want to take up the prosecutor's time. It takes up their time from other people. So yeah, my shoulder is feeling better because I'm pulling up more. I got my parallettes. I step on them, and then I pull up, and that's causing a tension that my shoulder actually needs. So I am improving my shoulder pain. I've only been pulling. I guess I've only been pushing and pulling, and not much else. So, but it's a skill issue because I didn't realize I could step on my. It took a while for me to realize I could step on my parallettes and then pull up. But it took me a while to actually own parallettes too. I had to learn that they exist, and I love them. So I'm working on muscles in a different way that I haven't before, and it's like I'm not carrying any weights. Sticks, parallettes, push-up bars, dip bars. I almost got another pair of parallettes. I went out to a house to look at them. They're like in between my, I don't know, 1.5 foot tall parallettes and my little push-up bars. I almost got something in between, like something like that was about this tall, but that's too high. It wasn't necessary. I'm a little nervous about these breaking. I really like using these push-up bars now. I'm practically using them every day. I can't right now though because the band, the tendon here is really sore. But I was doing on dip bars. I was doing forward kicks to work the abs, and I need to have upper body strength for that too. But for the longest time, using these push-up bars were hurting my hands. I got even a little bit of a callus there. It hurts. It feels like I broke my wrist. So I wrapped some leather around it and tape. And that helps a lot more. It's what I'll have to do every time I have to get new push-up bars if these break on me. Thighs, yeah, you got to work them thighs. That gets the blood flowing. I sit too much, so getting out to work the thighs gets the blood flowing. It's like the number one exercise to improve my heart function. I don't wake up with a racing heart like I'm dying. Working the legs has helped, and now I'm adding push-ups, and that's really changing things up. I do the side-to-side squats up and down, and then push-ups up and down. It's really been decent. Adverse inference. Oh yeah, I saw about the adverse inference. The jury or judge may assume the answer. Yeah, isn't that amazing? Like, you got to shut down the prosecutor with adverse inference. You have more pressure to shut down the prosecutor's line of questioning. All right, you wanna shut down, but then the judge is like, overruled. The judge is like in my trial in West Milwaukee. She's like, overruled. You may answer the question. And then I'm like, I go. The prosecutor asks a stupid question. I object. The judge says, overruled. You may answer the question. And that's when I say I plead the fifth. So, but I think it's more. This is the first time I've ever experienced this civil trial in Wisconsin over loitering and obstruction. Obstruction of justice is a civil case. That's incredible to me. So I want to not only plead the fifth, because I'll plead the fifth every time, and let's see. I'll plead the fifth every time, but before I do that now, the judge is teaching me. The court has taught me that I want to object to every question. If I'm going to be forced onto the stand, I could just initially, I initially say I'm not willing to answer any questions. I tried to make that clear, but then they had to go through their questions, and all I did was plead the fifth. And now I'm more prepared and more aware that I want to object to every single question, because I'm clearly that's the pleading the fifth is a knee-jerk response, but I want to also object because that's there's an adverse inference. So I want to make more of an attempt to shut down the prosecutor's line of questioning before I plead the fifth. So whatever the question is, I got my list of objections. And the obvious one, that the easy objection to make is irrelevant. Without even looking at my sheet of paper, that's the need. That's what I should have been doing at every question. Not just I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth, I plead the fifth. It should be objection irrelevant. I plead the fifth. I'll just assume the judge says overruled, you may answer the question. Objection irrelevant. I plead the fifth. Objection irrelevant. I plead the fifth. If I'm getting tossed onto the stand to answer questions for the prosecutor, I'm making my objection and then pleading the fifth. And that's the best way I could work through adverse inference. So it's all a part of the process. That's gonna be a part of my process if I'm forced again to take the stand to answer the prosecutor's stupid questions, so he can build adverse interest. Why don't he ask some really great questions? To really, he could really pile on some slop in his questioning by asking really bad questions to make me, how many times have you been arrested in the past, and all of that. Even if I object, what if the judge sustains an objection I make? Okay, does adverse inference still come into play, even if it's a successful objection? So, sanctions. That's crazy. How many individuals get sanctions placed on them as pro se defendants? I saw that in Louisiana they tried to get a new law in their constitution to punish lawyers from outside the state. They want to punish lawyers working from outside the state, apparently. And I think that'd probably be something to affect pro se litigants too. And like, it was rejected, but they tried. And I asked if there's any other states that want to punish. Let's have ChatGPT explain this. Are we still connected? Okay, get back connected. It may not know. What is the voting that happened in Louisiana where they wanted to try to punish lawyers from outside the state?
Louisiana voters recently rejected an amendment that would have allowed the Supreme Court to discipline out-of-state lawyers practicing in the state. This vote took place on March 29th, 2025.
Okay, I'll just stop it there. So you hear that she's saying that they attempted to punish. They want to punish lawyers from outside the state. They attempted it, but the voters voted against it. And like, I think they could push that to pro se litigants. And this is a state. Louisiana's a state that doesn't provide people with lawyers when they should be getting lawyers. They deny based upon ridiculous ridiculous reasons. And even their appeals court kind of talks about Ferretta hearing, but not they don't explicitly say that we're guaranteed a free lawyer, have to meet certain conditions. You have to ramp up your charges more to get the free lawyer. Even though you could face 6 months in jail, that's still not enough because it's not mandatory. It's the judges choosing in city courts without a jury. It's just ridiculous. And then they try to go further with it. Louisiana's trying to push further with it because they're not providing people enough lawyers within the state. They're turning around and trying to punish lawyers who try to help outside the states. They're going even further towards slavery is what it is. And I'm amazed that Hyundai wants to set up a some kind of auto manufacturing plant in Louisiana. I say that Louisiana's just trying to they're just trying to take advantage of that cheap inmate labor. You know, they got some excessive amounts of inmates and they jail people for no good reason, and Hyundai can take advantage of that. So yeah, I'm really happy about how my shoulder's getting better. I'm improving my strength. One thing that limited my strength, like the top of my shoulder, when I first bought my parallettes, I couldn't even do one push-up facing upside down push-up. The head of my shoulder was so weak, I couldn't even push up. And I was thinking about that. Oh, and it hurts too. It hurts when I do that. See, that's why I got to do more pulls. That's what's limiting my strength. But I was thinking about the 90-year-old man I watched fall down the stairs at a church, and it was kind of a slow fall. There were small stairs. I thought it was weird to see him falling, but he fell down to his knees, and then his hands hit the ground, the floor. It was in a church, and he couldn't stop his head from still hitting the floor. His arms were so weak. I just watched him slowly. It was kind of a slow fall. His hands were just not stopping. He wasn't just like stopped with his hands. He still continued to fall forward and hit his head on the floor. And then I had to help pick him up because he couldn't really get up on his own. But I was thinking, wow, I was getting that weak in my 40s. I'm still in my 40s, but through my mid 40s, I was getting that weak in my triceps. I couldn't lift myself up very well because of the lack of exercise. And then testing my strength out on the parallettes, I can only do one push up. Well, upside down push. There's guys that could do handstands and do all kinds of tricks with handstands. I couldn't even do one push. And a lot of it is the pain that's restricting my movement, but that's also just not doing enough of the right exercises. But now I'm about 10 repetitions. I'm making progress with the strength and just this upper head, not the pec. The upper head of the forward head of the shoulder got so weak I couldn't even do one, but now I'm up to 10. And that's with the aid of the parallettes. I enjoy doing that. I don't need a weight. I don't need a bar to push up and down with weights and just increase the plates. I could just do upside down pushes because it's nice. I got the full head clearance because it's a nice, 1.5 foot or so tall parallette, and instead of doing it straight on the ground. This even this isn't tall enough. This doesn't give me the head clearance that I'm looking for. just a, having a little extra distance is useful. This is great for doing full push-ups. I can really get a nice full stretch on the push-up. I find ground push-ups with my hands just on the ground very unsatisfying, because it's such a limited range of motion. I got such short arms, I guess. Having this extension is giving a lot of different value that I didn't really realize before. And I really couldn't do push-ups before because because of shoulder pain. I think shoulder pain stops a lot of people from continuing with push-ups. But this was is being used to supplement my stick, because I'll pace up and down a parking lot in the Jesus pose, and I'll tighten up my pecs, and they're all extended, and it just I was doing that for a while just by itself, just tightening up the pecs walking, and I'm like, man, I could do more. There's got to be something else, and then that's when I realized I should be doing push-ups too to supplement it. So I like to do push-ups and then get the stick on my back and do that stretch, which really is great. It's a great combination. Gets the blood flowing and all of that. And then yeah, I could do dips and stuff. Dips, like I was getting so weak in my upper body. Like when I pushed all this cloth back and stuff, try to adjust myself in my car, I was getting really weak on that even. And with the parallettes, I'm doing more dips, and now I find myself, I can push. I got more strength now. I'm constantly shuffling pillows and blankets all around and all of that, and I was getting weak too. It wasn't like strengthening me doing that, but the parallettes have changed that around. So it's been a real nice relief, I guess you could say. It's a real relief. But with all that extra exercise is leading me to eating more and then pooping more, and it's just one after the other. But I mean I can deal with it. I'm getting less gut issues now that I'm doing more sit-ups. Somebody mentioned doing more sit-ups should help with gas problems or constipation. I think that's true. I mean, I noticed working calves help, but doing more abs with the dip bars, doing more kick forwards is really helping. Having a stronger stomach seems to help with the gas issues. I don't hold gas as long and as painfully as I used to. So when a stomach wall gets weak, then the intestinal tract gets weak, and I don't want that to happen anymore. And it also affects my sleep too. When my body gets weak, when the muscles get loose and weak, I sleep on a bump, because I don't always clean off my bed perfectly. I got bumps often, and I'll sometimes sleep on a bump that's maybe right here or here, shuffling things around so much. I got a well up of the blanket or pillow, and I just fall asleep on it, and then I would lose blood circulation to that spot. But now that I'm working my core a lot more, that's less of an issue. I'm not even noticing it. I'm not waking up with a racing heart and feeling like I have a loss of blood in that area. I strengthen my core through my sit-ups and my push-ups and the bridges, and I can handle sleeping on harder surfaces, more uneven surfaces. It takes training. It takes the right kind of training to do that. It's just not something you go for a walk. And I don't want to baby up my sleeping conditions. All right, I don't need I don't need perfect sleeping conditions. This perfect soft bed, get the memory foam. I don't need that. I just I just need to strengthen my body so I can at least so I can handle the lumps and bumps instead. Because if I try to get too fancy with luxury, it takes up too much space in my car. So I'm thinking about space and how I can best maximize it. And I'm really happy with the space I got in this car. I can get into tight spaces with the car, and I can work with the tight spaces within the car. It's pretty, it works out pretty good for me. I'd like to consider it just a step up from motorcyclers. But motorcyclers probably check into more hotels and stuff anyway. I just sleep in my car. And because of the heat, today I mean, next few days it's supposed to be cold, but it got hot enough to melt this chocolate in the past few days. I keep a chocolate jar because, yeah, and these got to be put in the chocolate jar too. When it gets up into the 80s, it's like 100 inside the car, and it melts the chocolates. So I want to keep chocolates in a container that it's not going to go to waste, because, ugh, what a mess and waste the chocolate becomes in its packaging. So I chose this glass jar. I might change up what I got later. I'm not sure. I eat a lot of chocolate though, and yeah, it tastes pretty good when it's melted. You know, I'm not as hungry when it's hot out and it's melted, but it tastes pretty good. And then when it solidifies back up again, I gotta cut into it with a knife, which isn't too hard, and extract the chocolate. But yeah, I've been eating a lot of chocolate. When I don't cook, that's something easy to eat. Usually it would be just like peanuts, oats, and honey, and do that round robin, maybe with some milk to wash it down and a fruit. But now it's chocolate, peanuts, oats, and honey. My go-tos, my common food items that pretty much I eat every day. I can't believe I can get away with eating it every day, but I don't seem to get any problems from it that I can notice. I try to like consume various herbs and stuff at times. I just recently got nutritional yeast, and I put a magnet lid on it. Where nutritional yeast? I lost it? I don't even see it. Did I lose my nutritional yeast? I thought I put a magnetic lid on it. That's not it. Huh. Well, I'm mixing a bunch of different herbs and then now nutritional yeast with my popcorn. I'll have it with popcorn mainly. I don't know what else nutritional yeast would go good with. Maybe eggs. And I'm not feeling like a rush of energy, but it's something else to eat. It's got a good taste to it. It's supposed to have B vitamins, so I'll do that. Uh, so yeah, I'm keeping kind of a consistent diet going. I like to keep eggs on me, various fruits, and yeah, the chocolates with everything. Cook eggs. Don't really cook meat as much, just because it doesn't keep very well in the car, especially on hot days. A cooler day like this, I could deal with it. Like last week, I boiled some grass in this area. In the south of here, Oklahoma, the grass is becoming more prevalent. It's coming out in the springtime. I'm really looking more for the Indian grass. I'll take the old brown Indian grass, But I guess it gets so windy around here that the leaves blow right off the stalk. So I haven't been able. I've seen the stalks, but I don't see the leaves. I would I would consider mixing Indian grass with fresh grass, those two together, because Indian grass is great by itself. Fresh grass is not great by itself, but it's good with milk. But I'm like, maybe I can mix the dried grass with the fresh grass, boil those together, and maybe it could be almost, maybe it'd be better by itself. It might be more tolerable. I've been keeping more peppermint on me and chamomile. I'm not gonna boil them anymore. I've given up on boiling because I just don't consume them enough. I'll just put them in the water, let them soak by themselves, and then drink it. It seems like it's working out okay. I just got to drink it fast and not let it sit out too long before drinking it because it can spoil. I don't need to heat up the water for that, but I do need to heat up the water for Indian grass, regular grass, or whatever other weeds I can find, that like dandelion tea. If I find enough dandelion leaves, those are worth boiling. If I when I can find them, just to get those types of minerals and all of that, free minerals. And I don't need to pay any money, and I don't need to buy an excessive amount. I just take what I need, and that's it. No longer do I dig up the dandelion root. That's like, if I mean, dandelion root is way too strong. I feel like I'm just drained of of life. Like, it takes so much out of me. It's something that would have to be like, I would have to have a real nasty sickness or something to consume dandelion root. The leaves are fine enough. The flowers and leaves, whatever. So yeah, I'm changing up my habits a little bit here and there, especially with the parallettes. They've really given me a different um, approach to exercise. I don't need weights. And then yeah, the diet. There's probably things I can improve. The AI is kind of helping me see things differently too. Asking the questions. I could ask, I'd ask, if I ask Google these questions, it would try to take me to websites that have nothing to do with my question. And so it's nice to be able to ask my full question and get a direct answer. Yeah, I guess that's all I really have to say. I'm just kind of waiting on, I'm checking CCAP with Wisconsin. That's what I got to do, because the city court told me, the court clerk told me that they've transferred my case to circuit court. So now I look in CCAP for my name, and then when my name pops up, then I can pay for that the retrial, for the jury trial. That's all I'm waiting on. I can prepare. The thing is, I'm confident that I can prepare quickly with the use of AI, and I have more awareness of how I want to conduct myself in court. Um, but it's hard for me to uh, do anything right now. It's just all I could. I'm in the phase where I'm just kind of waiting on circuit court to start my case, so I can do this all over again. Um, and yeah, I'm just completely ignoring Natchitoches. We'll see what happens when a cop pulls me up on NCIC, how they want to deal with that. However that goes, that'll be a process on its own. And yeah, just kind of taking it day by day and trying to relax. I'm making my way slowly towards West Milwaukee, so that's the trajectory because I still got things going on over there, and so I'm about I should be within 1,000 miles of West Milwaukee now, just kind of making my way in that direction. You know, I am sure that I'm gonna have to show up in court. As crappy as the location for that courthouse is, people are saying they gotta park a mile away, and they're getting tickets. Um, so it's not gonna be easy, you know, because I don't quite know. They act like idiots on the phone when you call the circuit court. Um, I think, and they're insisting that I do show up if especially if I want to get paperwork to waive the fees. I have to go to that courthouse. So I haven't really fully plotted where I'll park, and then I'm gonna have to park a distance away and bicycle in. That's what happened with Appleton. I'd park like a couple miles away and then bicycle in. That's what's going to happen with West Milwaukee. But West Milwaukee is going to be a lot more difficult than Appleton for parking. Or not West Milwaukee, just Milwaukee County Courthouse. So yeah, just slowly looking into these things. They're steering me in their direction. They're steering my attention in their direction. That's what they want. That's what I do. I could be doing other things, but you know, that's what the government does. Is they want your attention. So I'll give it to them. You know, that's why I make time. People they steer my attention towards them, and then they tell me to get a job. It's like, yeah, it's just, you know, because all they want is your money. So I don't know. I'm just gonna stop.